Trying to find the perfect fit in raw selvage denim can be a pretty challenging task. There are so many different brands with so many different fits. A lot of the times raw selvage denim can come in too slim, they can come in too baggy, and for those who are looking for a wider fit, sometimes they're just not wide enough. And for those with really trim fitted thighs, sometimes the thighs aren't trim enough. There's so many different inconsistencies in fit between brands and between sizes when it comes to the patterns that are used to make raw selvage denim. And lately, me myself, I've been really into the wider leg or baggier styles of raw denim, but I've really had kind of a tough time trying to find the perfect, most wide leg raw denim that I could find. And it's taken me about a year to finally figure out exactly what that pair of raw denim is. And the thing is, I know baggy and wide leg denim is not everybody's thing, but it's just something that I personally have been feeling. And it's also a little bit more traditional and leaning more on that heritage style than the modern fits, which I still love, but I just wanted something a little different, something that makes a bit more of a statement, which is what these wider leg pants and wider leg jeans do. So long story short, I finally stumbled upon the Naked and Famous Strong Guy fit, which I actually did a video on a couple of months ago. But recently, Naked and Famous announced their Natural Indigo fabric, which is something that I love so much, in the renowned Strong Guy fit, which is the baggiest raw denim that I own. And if you guys have been on this channel before, you know how much I love Natural Indigo. I love green cast denim. I'm not really a red cast denim guy. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy red cast denim, but it's really just not my thing. I like jeans that fade down to more of a greenish, almost yellowish kind of tint, and something that just has that real vintage vibe to it. Sometimes red cast can be a little bit too clean for me. But when Naked and Famous announced their Natural Indigo in the Strong Guy fit, which is a fit that I absolutely love, you know I had to swoop in and cop, and I copped so fast. So basically what I did was I actually sized up because I wanted a little bit more of that baggier fit, and basically that's where these came in. So these are the Naked and Famous Natural Indigo Strong Guys, and these jeans are in a size 33. I would usually buy a 32 from them, but again, I sized up because I wanted a little bit of that bagginess to it. And again, if you want something that fits a little wider, I would definitely size up. And I've actually had experience with this Natural Indigo fabric before, but this time around, it's actually a little different. Now, for those who don't know, Natural Indigo is a very interesting phenomenon because even with larger brands like Naked and Famous, it's really hard to kind of control the consistency and color when it comes to a fiber or a dye that's grown naturally from the earth. You have less control over the shade, you have less control over the color. And what I actually like about these is that when I tried out the Naked and Famous Groovy Guys, which I also have in a Natural Indigo color, the Natural Indigo and the Groovy Guys kind of stayed a little gray, more of a gray cast than a green cast, which is something that I really hadn't seen in Natural Indigo before, and I thought it was cool. These also started off gray just like the Groovy Guys, but eventually over time they actually started to turn a little bit more blue and a little bit more green. And I gotta say, I've been wearing these pretty consistently over the past month, and I gotta say the fabric is so smooth, it's so clean. And this is a very different jean for me because I actually tend to buy a lot of low tension and a lot of super slubby denim, but this is actually a really super clean, very straightforward Natural Indigo jean. I mean, it's got barely any slub. It has almost like a really kind of professional appearance, if that makes sense. And over time, you can definitely see that there's some gradation in blue, not too much, but just a touch because I've been wearing it. But definitely when I first got these, this jean was super uniform. One thing that Naked and Famous does, which I love about their jeans, is that they actually have a very interesting spin on the thread color that they use for this particular fabric. I always love to call it the Naked and Famous orange because they have almost this kind of copperish orange kind of thread that they use to construct the jean throughout. I haven't seen a two-tone stitch jean from them before, which you will see very frequently in Japanese denim brands, but they actually took their own kind of spin on it, which I think really adds to the branding of what Naked and Famous is. And for those who don't know, Naked and Famous is basically renowned as the mad scientists of the raw denim world because they'll do things that everybody else is afraid to do. They've had scratch and sniff denim, they've had denim made from milk, they've had bulletproof denim. The brand of Naked and Famous is built on a labor of love and a labor of passion, as well as an immense knowledge in raw denim construction, in heritage style, in artisanal made goods. And anytime you buy a pair of their jeans, you definitely see and feel the denim professionalism that Naked and Famous is. So yeah, I really love that orange stitching. You see it throughout the entire garment. You also see it on the inside of the waistband, which is double chain stitched on the top and the bottom. And I always love that. I don't think it's really a necessity, and I don't know if it necessarily adds any sort of strength or any sort of real heavy benefit to the waistband, but it definitely has that really nice appearance which denim nerds like us love. You have a really clean interior. These jeans don't actually have hidden back pocket rivets, which is fine because A, I don't think they really do all that much, to be honest with you, and B, I'm not planning on doing super heavy labor in these. I mean, granted, granted, I do work in these, but not anything super crazy. I mean, even throughout this month of wear, the inside is so clean. There's virtually no loose threading at all. The construction is beautifully done. And what I also love is that the branding on the inside is simple, because the jean and the brand of Naked and Famous really speaks for itself. And it's really more about the jean than anything else. As expected, we have a button fly, and these jeans actually come with 4 buttons with the 5th button closure. And these are the Naked and Famous branded buttons. And I'm not entirely sure what these are made of, but you know what? I'm actually really surprised at how well these buttons kept up after this month of heavy wear. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've worn these a lot. Now, the interesting thing with Naked and Famous denim is they have a very specific kind of shape when it comes to the riveting on the front pockets, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. I don't know if they're hammered in, but they don't really have the traditional plate and nipple that other Japanese denim brands have. And I actually really like it because it speaks to the kind of very clean, very modernized nature of this jean. It's a very subtle look that gives way for the entire composition of the jean to kind of stand out, as opposed to so many different details and so many different nuances that raw denim can have. It's more about appreciating the jean for what it is rather than just appreciating the details. And that's something that I really love about Naked and Famous, is that they really take that kind of cerebral approach to branding and to manufacturing of their garments. So you do have a blue Selvedge ID coin pocket, which matches the Selvedge ID that's sewn inside the outseam, and it's actually sewn down and secured on a separate piece, as opposed to other brands that will actually use a continuous piece. And I actually like this a lot better when it comes to a Selvedge ID coin pocket, because this actually helps maintain the stability and the longevity of the Selvedge itself, because to be honest, a lot of Selvedge ID coin pockets are actually very fragile, and they're also prone to a sort of rolling, if that makes sense, from repeated use of putting stuff inside and taking things out of that pocket. So I really prefer this kind of faced, stitched down, secure coin pocket when it comes to the Selvedge ID, because it ultimately looks better and it lasts longer. Now, what's interesting about this jean is that when I tried out the Naked and Famous Groovy guys, the inseam was actually an overlock seam, or a surge seam, which is known in the denim head community as weaker than the felled seam, and maybe it is to a degree. These jeans in the strong guys are actually all double felled seams that seem to be chain stitched as well, which is again one of those modern details that you really don't see on a lot of Japanese denim. You see it sometimes, but this again speaks to the longevity factor as well as the knowledge that Naked and Famous has on their production of denim. And basically the flat felled seam is probably the strongest seam that you can get when it comes to the manufacturing of denim. So this is pretty cool. I can't wait to have this jean for a very long time. You also have the classic chain stitch, again in that Naked and Famous orange, as I love to call it, and this is so cleanly done. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to give a nice roping fade or a roping effect because of the tension of the stitch. And you're already starting to see a little bit of that puckering, a little bit of that tension around the edges towards the middle of the hem itself on both the front and the back. You're not really seeing that fading yet, but you are seeing that the tension is noticeably starting to affect the jean, and the jean itself is starting to take shape. And here we have that beautiful blue line Selvedge ID, which is synonymous with the Naked and Famous Natural Indigo denim. I really love the blue line for this because it keeps to that really clean, composed, not too showy nature of the jean itself, because to have a fit like this and a raw denim that's as bright as this, you really don't want to add too much crazy detail, because again, you want the jean and you want the outfit that you're wearing the jean with to kind of speak for itself. You don't want all the details to kind of overshadow or consume the outfit. Now, going back to the top of the waistband, we also have the classic Naked and Famous leather patch with this incredible artwork of a naked woman that really just sells this jean so well. I've always loved Naked and Famous's branding, and I've always loved how fearless and how straightforward spearheaded their branding, their ideology, their passion, everything encompassed. They just go forward with it no matter what anybody says, and that's what makes Naked and Famous denim so special. Now, like I said, I've been wearing these jeans for about a month and a half, almost every day, and I gotta say, these are really super tough faders. Now, the thing is, I'm not really chasing the fades on this one because I really do love the color of the denim specifically, but I gotta say, man, I've done a lot in these jeans and I see the creases, but I really don't see any fades at all, if any, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it, and I think that part of it has to do with the nature of the weave of the denim itself and how tightly woven this specific denim is, but also the nature of the natural indigo fabric. I find that natural indigo is kind of hard to fade, and I think that the biggest factor in the fading capability of this is definitely the baggier fit, because obviously the wider leg that the jean is, the less abrasion, the less tension, the less stress that you're putting on the fabric. So I think all of those those things combined are really making this a pretty tough jean to fade. Not saying that they won't fade, and not saying that you don't see a little bit of color difference, but I definitely don't think this is the jean that's going to give you high contrast fades at all. So if that's what you're looking for, I probably would consider something a little darker, like their left hand twill strong guy, or even consider sizing down to the true guy, which is more of their straight fit. It's still relatively wide, but it's not as baggy as this. But yeah, besides the color of this jean, one of my favorite things about this jean is absolutely, without a doubt, without question, the way that the jean fits. I really love the wide leg nature, the real bagginess to this jean, especially with the way that I sized up. It really gives off this kind of statement, and because of the sheen, because of the starch, because of the shine that this jean has, it looks like a really expensive, really luxury jean, and it complements a lot of the wider or boxier silhouettes of tops and sweaters and stuff that I have, that I love to wear this jean with. And the length for me is almost perfect. I think once I finally wash these after I wear them a little bit, because these are not a one wash denim, they are sanforized, but they haven't been soaked, so they are going to shrink down a bit. I think after that shrinking, the jean is finally going to be at the perfect length for me, and it's going to give that real super clean silhouette coupled with that bagginess that I'm really feeling right now. So yeah, I definitely recommend these to anyone who's looking for a wider leg or baggier raw selvage denim, because to be honest, through this past year of searching and documenting this process on YouTube, I really haven't found anything baggier than this. But if you guys know of any baggier raw selvage denim, definitely let me know down in the comments, and eventually I'll circle around to it when I get my bread up. But yeah, all in all, I really recommend Naked and Famous. I love their denim, I love the company, I love the things that they do with fabric, and the way that these jeans just make me feel when I wear them is completely unmatched. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the love and support as always, and you guys have really been showing out on the comments recently, and I love you guys for it. I really appreciate all the feedback, all of the suggestions, all of the recommendations, and most of all the positivity and the kind words that you guys have given me. This is the type of stuff that really helps push me forward, helps me make these videos, and just improve as we go along. I mean, if you look at the first video that I dropped in comparison to the videos that I do now, there's a clear and complete difference, and it's all because of you guys. So definitely keep dropping down those comments, dropping down those recs, dropping that feedback. I love and appreciate you guys more than you could ever possibly know. And with that being said, thank you guys again, and I'll see you next week.